Hi, my name is Nakia Franklin.
And I'm Vawn Gretta.
And we want to welcome you to this episode of The Real
and Raw Talk Show.
Where there are no boundaries.
And no judgments.
Hi, y'all. We're so glad to be here. We are honored to welcome today's guest. And we want to acknowledge our previous guest, Juanita Campbell Rasmus, is not here for this episode. We're so sad. And we support her in her time to be. So please purchase her book, Learning to Be, and continue to support her as she impacts the world on her journey. Now, I want to get to today's guest, sis. Today, we have a beautiful lady here to share her experiences, her journey, and her heart on this platform to give others hope, courage, and encouragement, empowerment, and the courage to stand for what is right and just. We want to welcome Ms. Shawn Davis to our platform. We want you to be with her as we have a conversation about her journey as an 8-year reservist in the United States military. She has received an honorable discharge as a female soldier who chose a journey to accomplish her ultimate goals in life. Learning to trust those who call themselves a friend can be traumatic when we discover the truth. We need not to forget how we must fight to support our women in the military, those that have served in any capacity, and those that may one day choose to serve. Now, she is the youngest of her siblings, raised between Texas and Louisiana, a graduate of PV, which is Prairie View University, with a bachelor's of business administration with a focus on marketing and a master's in business administration specializing in finance. She completed her educational career as a doctor with a doctor and that's as a doctor with a jurisprudence from Southern University. Okay, yeah. This once Miss 19 of Texas will be here to take us through the courage to heal. Sis Vawn, over to you.
Okay, wonderfully done, my darling. So we have the privilege of having our resident therapist, because it's all about psychology, Dr. Melvin Hayden, on tonight, and he is a clinical psychologist. Melvin is a motivational speaker, consultant, and certified cognitive behavioral life coach, and he values dedication, service, and excellence. Now, as a decorated combat veteran, Melvin brings unique perspectives gained from his battlefield experience. Hey, 2 vets on the show, girl. All right. And he brings that experience to empower himself and others, and as they unleash anything trauma-related. Using real-world examples, Melvin sheds light on how untapped talent can prove invaluable when trauma-related issues are released. So he is a published author of I'd Rather Be Bad Than Stupid and of the Blue Rooster magazine and alternative education for anyone going through these different issues. Okay, so his overall mission, I love this, as a life coach, is to teach, develop, and inspire, and of course, mentor. Over to you, sis.
I know, right? I know we're always excited to have Melvin, not just as a guest, but as a part of our alliance. It's so amazing. We're so blessed to have him. So while you listen, engage, and enjoy with this episode, we ask that you remember those before you, consider your own personal struggles, and think of those that will be here once you and I are no longer enjoying this earthly experience. Because one day we'll be gone, right? Now, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry just completed a discussion with Oprah Winfrey on Sunday, March the 7th, 2021. And they discussed the difficulty in Meghan not only seeking, but obtaining the help she needed to overcome what had become suicidal thoughts. The level of stress, overwhelmingness, and trauma she was enduring was beyond what her humanness and physical and mental capabilities were able to handle alone and with the support of just her husband. Now, as we were able to understand and discover racism, classism, and various levels of bias and prejudice, we see that it has no limits on who can be impacted. I request that each of us check our realities and know if we are truly being protected, if we are truly safe within our own walls, and if we should seek help, support, and cry out until someone, anyone listens. Anyone listens and is willing to sacrifice everything to save our lives. So I want you to always remember there is a number available for suicide prevention. So please contact 1-800-273-8255. Again, that is 1-800-273-8255 for the suicide prevention hotline. It is worldwide. Sis, back over to you.
Thank you, darling. Now look here, guys. It's time to get real and raw. And we want to hear from you. And all of you guys who've been with us for a while, you know we want to hear from you. And we want you to engage with our guests. Our guests would like to hear what you have to say as well. So please take some time to go to www.streamyard.com/Facebook. I promise it only takes a few seconds to grant StreamYard access to see your comments. And you guys stick around and post questions, share. Right, this is my sis' favorite part when she says share, and start your own watch party right now because it's time to enter into the no judgment zone.
Hey. Hey, honey. Girl, I love that song. You know, I be jamming. Be like, hey, what's up?
I be trying to pass through, you know, the whole thing, girl.
Don't make me go there. Don't make me go there.
Hey!
Hey, everybody. We're excited to be here on this Monday night. Started at 8:55 on March 15, 2021. Glad to have you in the house. So let's just introduce our guests, bring them onto the show so we can go ahead and get started into this conversation. First, we have Miss Shawn McCraw. Hey, right.
Hi, lady.
Hey, Shawn.
Got some country singing on my mind.
That's okay.
That's all right. You're looking beautiful, sis.
Thank you.
Yes. Welcome, Shawn. Thank you for coming on this episode of The Courage to Heal. Episode number 6. I know we're out of order right now, but that's okay because we had life happening, right? So we also have our resident therapist, Mr. Dr. Melvin Hayden Jr. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Hey, and he is a guest tonight.
Yeah, I'm just a guest tonight. I'm chilling.
But you can't say just because being a guest is amazing. So
I'm in the cut tonight.
Ain't never in the cut. We got you.
I'm chilling in the cut. That's where I'm at.
Okay, you gonna chill in the cut tonight?
Yeah, that's where I'm here with Ms. Davis and the rest of y'all.
All right, that's cool. Well, you know what? We're gonna let you relax and chill tonight. We're gonna treat you as a guest, okay? Because we love on our guests. It's like we love on ourselves, right? All day. And since are we bringing Mr. Terence Fisher on just to, have his face in the place for a moment?
Absolutely.
Hey, Terence.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Fine. Mr. Terence is going to be our musical artist for tonight. And we just wanted to see your face in the place, darling. And then we're going to say bye-bye for just a moment, and then we'll bring you back. How about that?
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you for being here.
Are we supposed to refer to him as Mr. Terrence? I mean, I feel like I'm in a residential facility calling him by his first name with a Mr. in front of it. I mean,
making him old.
He's open wide. I mean, I ain't know him. Then Mr. Terrence, he's a musical. Is that his name for his musical? Oh, okay.
Fisher. It's Terence Fisher. Thank you.
Oh, Terence Fisher. Okay, got it. Terence Fisher. All right. Let's say you put me back in one of my old jobs. Okay.
Check.
Apparently, he is not chilling in the cut. Apparently, he is front and center.
No, I just had a question. It was just a question.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right. So I know we're on a strict time schedule, so I better get to moving, right?
You sure better.
Sean, we're going to jump right into this conversation, young lady. Can you take about a minute or so to share with our audience, why did you choose to enter the reserves? And if you don't mind sharing which branch, please let us know. Give us some background for relatedness, okay?
Okay. Well, being the baby of my family, I had a lot of people pulling the strings on every decision that I make or made at the time. And so I was looking for a way to take ownership of my life and do the things that I wanted to do. Me and my mother was in a battle because I had a scholarship to Prairie View A&M, but I wanted to go to the military because I come from a military family. My mom refused. She sent me to Prairie View A&M. After like a few years of me being there, I decided I still wanted to do the Army. And so I went ahead and enlisted without my mom's permission. She took me right back, made me cancel that contract, and told them they could only have me as a reservist. So I went in as a reservist because my mom basically made sure that that's the only thing the U.S. Army was going to have me for.
Your mama strong?
Oh, yeah, I come from a strong line. Yeah, she wasn't playing no games. But I'm grateful that she did that for me because she absolutely knew, even though we were in a battle, what was best for me. So it was just the fact that I just wanted to find out more about who I was, stand on my own 2 feet. And then I was a pageant girl, so people really thought I couldn't do it. They were like, what? She can't go to the Army. She's going to not last 2 weeks. She's the baby of the family. So it was more of me proving that I was strong enough to do it and proving that I had every right to follow my dreams and do what I needed to do. It's worked out in good ways for me, and it worked out in some negative ways for me. So the journey was good and bad for me.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for sharing that. And we really appreciate you and Melvin for your sacrificing your time in the service, because everybody can't do that. I couldn't do it. I've tried, not fully, but I really thought about it. So yeah. So can you share a bit of your experience in the basic training days? And there were some things that occurred, and you said it was good on some ends, and other experiences it wasn't so good. So can you share with us about the experiences that were not handled as well, right? Or not as, that didn't empower you and didn't support you?
When I was in basic training, it was very hard because I came with myself, but being there, my family still came with me in support. So I got a lot of letters, my mom was a teacher and a counselor, so she had her kids writing me. And initially that came with a lot of jealousy that I didn't understand. So because I was getting so much attention and so many letters sent to me, I had a drill sergeant approach me and say, where are you from? And she was trying to figure out if I was from Texas or Louisiana, but the answer is technically both. And so she basically made sure that she did everything in her power to try to destroy me as a woman. She started rumors on me. She basically attacked me. She made people try to attack me. But I think the hurtful part was that she lied on me in ways that were, to me as a woman, were unforgivable. She would make up stories that were sexually explicit of things that she said that I would be doing in the barracks, which I was not a promiscuous girl. I was not even sexually active at the time. So for her to go and say those things was really like an attack on who I was and how I was raised. So me and her did have altercations. Fast forward, I move on to my second training to AIT with some of the same friends that I had from basic training. And one of my close guy friends, who I thought was a guy friend, he sexually assaulted me. And so from that point on, it was just downhill in the military because I just wanted to get home, grab a piece of my life that was normal, which was going back to Prairie View, and forget what had happened in AIT, because I felt like no one would have believed me, nobody would have helped me, and that I was all alone. And it was difficult for me because that was the one thing my dad had I always felt protected. I always felt loved and secured in the environments I was in. And the military was the one environment that actually took away my safety.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So I want to ask you about this friend, if you don't mind me asking you briefly about this friend. How did this friend, because we have to be careful with how we label people, right? Mm-hmm. How did he groom you to believe that he was your friend, that good guy, that had your back and made you feel comfortable with him? And this is important because this happens every day, even outside of the military.
He built rapport. It didn't start right away. Like when I joined the military, you have to do PT tests and you have to be able to run in a certain amount of time. I ran track in high school and middle school, so I was pretty fast, but I was not a long distance runner. And so when I would have to run to meet my times, I thought, well, it would make sense. The guys' time is higher than ours. They had 14 minutes. We had 18 minutes. If I can just keep up with the guys, I'm going to automatically make my time. And so the guys they would go and they would be gone. And he would always look back, come on, I got you, like motivate me. And we just became friends. When it was free time or time that we had to actually bond, him and I would talk about where we were from, what we did. And I began to trust him. And it was easy for me to trust him because even though I was a girly girl, I always felt like I was one of the guys. And so like I would be in the room and having conversations with men, and they never seemed to really see me as a girly girl. They always seen me as a guy, or at least that was my perception of it. And so I befriended him, and I thought he was definitely one of the people that I trusted.
Wow. So we'll go more into this a little bit later. And I have another question for you. Mm-hmm. Did at any point during the time that you were going through this experience, and I know Melvin can attest to this being traumatic for you, and anybody, did you ever consider harming yourself or suicide? And I appreciate you being willing to be on this show and share authentically and honestly in having this conversation with us.
Through therapy, I would always say this: I've never been suicidal, but I've definitely been homicidal. So, I've had the capacity because it just made me so angry, and it made me not trust people, and it actually made me volatile towards men. Like, you can't do something as a man to someone I love and not see me. And so the cute face and the prim and proper goes out the window, and then you're meeting somebody you're not ready for.
Wow. Thank you so very much. Melvin, before we transition, I wanted to ask you, with your ex-military experience, are you familiar with these types of occurrences in the military, and even as a professional, have you heard of different experiences, and what should we consider, not conduct, but what should we consider with what she just shared with us this evening?
Okay. Yes. Number one, to answer your first question, yes, there are situations like this throughout the military, and it stretches back as far as anybody could remember in regards to females being a part of the military. It starts at it starts the moment you get in. You see, what happens is that fraternal order that Ms. Davis is talking about, the trust, and it's kind of like a corporate trust, because we go through a lot of the same things, with basic training and tech schools and different things like that. We all feel a part of one another, and so there's that automatic trust that because we've all been through the same thing, that we can trust each other, with each other, with ourselves. Because right. in a real world, real war situation, we have to put our lives in the other person's hands in order to make it out alive. Okay. And so a real predator will take that and use that and befriend you and become a friend of you and try to, will play on that as I got you or we in this together. All the time they're thinking of something else.
Wow. Thank you so very much. We're gonna come back to this conversation, but at a different level in just a moment. Thank you again for your transparency. Thank you, Sean, for being here. This is about the courage to heal. And when you go through traumatic experiences and when you have these moments, whether you're in the military or not, and this is not a military geared show, okay, episode. We got one of them coming. But it's just God's divine purpose for Sean and Melvin both to be ex-military and be on this particular episode and be able to share with us the experiences and give us insight on life as a whole, because this can happen to anybody, and it happens to children, it happens to adults, it happens to people all over the world, no matter your skin color, your language, no matter anything. And it's just so important. So I really beseech upon each of you to really consider your space, who you call friend, who you call confident. And if you need to reach out, please do, because you have to have the courage to heal. Sis?
Thank you very much. Piggybacking on that, thank you guys so much. This is really, really interesting. Okay. I'm all emotional. That's why the best word I reached for was interesting. I'm sorry. It's probably not the right word, but I do want to bring back our wonderful musician and artist, Terence Fisher, right now. Terence, I would love for you if you could take a moment to share with everyone who you are and introduce the piece that we're going to see tonight.
Sure. And let me say first, thank you all for having me on this wonderful show. I'm enjoying it so far. The stories that Ms. Davis and Melvin are sharing are just amazing, and I'm all here. So thanks for having me. So this piece is, well, first of all, my name is Terence Fisher. I'm a full-time musician. I've been a full-time musician my entire life. I have a degree in music from the illustrious Grambling State University. Kind of inside joke there. So that's me in a nutshell. I do music for a living. I teach, I play several different instruments. I perform in several bands and things like that. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. In this piece you are about to see, it's one of my favorite songs. I'm a 90s baby. So, I was coming of age in the 90s. So I love 90s R&B music. So this song you're about to hear is called Let's Chill by Guy. And it is a instrumental piano version of that tune. So I really hope you enjoy it.
Thank you. Hey. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call him Mr. Terence. After that, I'm gonna have to call him Mr. Terence now.
We learned today.
Yeah, that was off the chain right there. Mr. Terence.
He earned the label Mr.
Yeah, Lord. Hallelujah. Thank you so much, Terence. We'll catch back up with you a little later, sir. Thank you. That's one of my favorite songs, too.
Thank you so much for being here.
Okay.
All right, sis, over to you. Let's get it started.
Okay. All right, you guys. So we're going to move right on over to talking about the impact of depression and trauma and processing the pain. If you've been joining us, Sean has been so open and vulnerable and gracious to share some very private moments. And thankfully, Melvin is here to wrap those things up and let us know how we can move on. And also his statement helped us recognize what can be seen in a predator, because sometimes we just don't recognize it and think about it. So with that said, Sean, from your own personal experience, help us understand the impact it had on your life. And I'd like you to be very descriptive, please. How did you find support when you finally chose to seek help, and did what you went through have any impact on your relationships?
Definitely. I kept this for a secret for a very long time because in my mind it was out of sight, out of mind. I can move forward. But unfortunately, my sister, she knew. So I didn't have to have conversations with certain people. They just saw the change in me. And so they were able to ask me questions. But the truth of the matter is I was never willing to answer those questions. So I went through anger management. I stayed in counseling. I had a previous marriage. I tried to open up and tell him about the situation. He didn't believe me. So it made me even more hateful and resentful. So I stayed back in counseling. But the truth of the matter is I was never actually saying what had happened to me. I was just saying I was angry, or I couldn't pinpoint or talk about this happened to me and this is why I feel this way. So fast forward, I ended up reconnecting with the guy that I'm married to now, my husband, who was in college with me. And he also was in basic training. And he was aware of the friendship I had with the guy. And so when we first started dating, he asked me like, hey, have you ever kept in touch? And I just had to be transparent and say no. And that's not something I want to talk about. And here's why. And I think that was the first time where I started to really talk about the situation. And then because I was in love with him, but I also associated him with the trauma, I had to do something to fix it. So that's when I started going to counseling and being transparent about this is what happened to me. And I've held on to this for this many years. I blame myself. And just like Dr. Hayden said, she explained to me what a predator was. And she was like, why are you blaming yourself when he probably had these plans the whole time to violate you? So I had to forgive myself because I felt like I had missed some signs. Like I had missed some signs on who he was. My dad was in my life. So I have a dad that's super protective of me. So I knew better. I knew what, from my dad's perspective, what to look for. But the truth of the matter is I was green. I had no clue that people were really out here to hurt you for whatever reasons. And so it went from that situation to me actually being in drilling and having more men sexually harass me. They didn't assault me, but it just was an endless battle of me always having to prove that I'm not here for your sexual gratification. I'm here to do what I'm here to do because I was trying to pay for college. I was trying to make sure that I had money to do all the extra things that I needed to do so that my life could be set up the way it was. But it felt like I was at the mercy of men in the military. Finally,
now, did you realize it? Did you realize that you had been assaulted?
I realized that I had been assaulted, but I think I learned to ignore the sexual harassment. Okay. But I took accountability because I said, had I not been alone with him or had I not been around him, those things wouldn't have happened. Cause I was taught like you always keep an extra person, which you don't go and be in a room with a guy by yourself. And these things, I let my guard down and I did those things. And so when it happened, I took a lot of guilt. Like I should have did what my parents taught me, or I should have did what I've been told to do. But the truth of the matter is, you don't know how you're going to respond in a situation, especially a man that's physically more stronger than you, that can empower, like really take you down. Like you can't, even at my strongest, I still wasn't strong enough to ward him off. So it was just a lot of emotional baggage that I carried, but I think holding on to it as a secret for as long as I did was probably just as damaging as the assault.
Yeah. Well, I am so happy that you, first of all, are saying all of this, because I know you're not the only one who thinks like that, and that you went to counseling so that you can identify it all and be able to have a peace and stop blaming yourself for what happened, because it certainly was not your fault. Right. Dr. Melvin, thank you so much, Sean. I really mean it. She talked about her needing to be, or knowing that she should have been safe where she was with her counterpart in the military. Let me ask you this, and her being able to overcome, and in the process of overcoming things that traumatized her in the military, have you been able to do the same as well? I know at one point you talked to us about PTSD, and I'd like you to be specific as well. Have you been able to, well, when you knew that this was something you suffered from and you were released from the military, what was the immediate impact on your family, in your life, in your surrounding, in your relationship with others, if any?
You asking me the question?
I am. I did say Melvin.
Okay. Getting out of the military for a male is completely different for a female.
No, just she's asking you. I'm sorry, Mel, but she's asking you specifically about your experience when you were released from the military. How was the impact on you and your family, your immediate surroundings, your for you?
Yeah.
Regarding you dealing with PTSD.
I mean, that's totally different from the military. There are a plethora of things that are available to men. Okay, I'm gonna answer your question like this. There are a lot of things that are available to men that actually help us move forward. Okay, they make things available to us. They encourage us to do a lot of different things, but it's a male-dominated society. Okay, so anything that I may have encountered or may have what I did in the military, the moment I got out, there are readily things available to me for what I was doing then to go into when I get out. Now, you're talking about the PTSD and the things that I may have seen and went through that I was going, that I went through. Okay, so they make that available. They make therapy and counseling, and they put all those things available to you, as a man. And the other men that I've talked to while we're getting out. Now, do I know females? I do know females that were in the military too, but talking to someone about your military experience as a female, that's not necessarily looked upon as something that they encourage, because it's a different gender. Men, you go through this counseling, you get this therapy because you're a man and you need to, you need to be okay with moving forward. But there are a lot of things that women go through in the military that they don't want to talk about, that they don't want on the record. And so they either discredit or they kind of, talk to you about not saying certain things. And so now you just left to deal with it. And like, Ms. Davis was talking about, she just dealt with it, because somebody, one person didn't believe her. Now you take that, you're talking about a male-dominated society. Okay, this is, the military is men of the men, brave of the brave, courage. This is what is preached. It's what's taught. And then you come in and whatever you may be saying, even for men, if I'm saying something that sounds weak-minded, I'm gonna be looked upon as a weak man. So imagine a woman saying something that makes her weak. Oh, she shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you this real quick question, and if you could answer that as quickly as you can, I'd appreciate it. Someone asked right here, do women give off certain energy or vibe to draw men like this to us? I know that once someone said that predators can know or recognize when someone has been attacked before. Does that sound like good information or no?
Okay, I will say a predator is a predator is a predator. You know, and what a predator does is what they always known to do. They talk. Okay. Everything they say is in an attack mode. Okay. Even me saying hello, how you doing? That's an attack on where I'm going next. Your smile, your eyes, your gestures, your countenance. I'm looking for, as a predator, I'm looking for something that's going to draw me in to try to continue this conversation. Okay. And so you do have those, the question that she asked, you do have those men that continue to keep talking and keep talking. One of the things that, and one of the top, if I had a top 5, this would be probably number 1. A predator will continue to try to talk to you to find out intricate details about you, to start trying to talk about those things. So if you say, well, you know what, I'm not interested in a man right now, I've been hurt. Oh, really? You know, so that's a door. You know, well, hey, look, you know, I have kids and I don't, you know, I'm not looking for anybody right now. Oh, you have kids? I love kids. Anything that can be used as a door, you know, to get in, they're going to try to use as a door to get in. And it's not necessarily a red flag, but you do have to, you gotta hear what they're actually saying and not what you're trying to hear. Because as a single woman, there are certain things that you're listening for to kind of give this man a stamp of approval on coming into your life, you know, but you actually really have to hear the words that they may be saying to you and not just what you're trying to hear to move forward.
So what can we do? Because I'm hearing you say a predator is a predator is a predator, and he's looking for examples. Like, so everything you say, that's an opening door, because that's just the predator's nature. There's nothing you can do about it as far as recognizing them, because that's just who they are. So what can we do then as women to protect ourselves?
I'm gonna be honest with you, you know, every predator is looking for something. Okay. And so how do you protect yourself? You really protect yourself by giving yourself, you know, well, I'm not going to say this overall general because it's different for everybody. But one of the things that you can help to protect yourself is time, taking somebody through a process, you know, taking somebody through what you deem. I don't mean checking boxes, because that can be dangerous as well. But taking somebody through a process to where, you know, where Miss Davis talked about feeling comfortable, you know, and, you know, she has a father that she talked to, you know, and she had someone that she spoke with, you know, I'm assuming frequently or all the time, you know, but this person gained her trust, but the person gained her trust within the environment they were in. It's easy for someone to gain your trust that you work with because y'all doing the same job. You know, you have the same stress levels, you have the same, you know, the same things going on. So in the military, when you're talking about a fraternal order, you know, there are people that really gravitate to that, you know, that fraternal order of being a part of something special. And when I mentioned earlier the word corporate, and what I want to make sure is that not everybody believes that to be true. So sometimes people believe that the word corporate means it's defined for as much as I understand what corporate is. So I can be your friend and that ulterior motive is always there. And then, you know, so when that door opens or the opportunity presents itself, then I'm going to jump through that door, because in my mind, I feel like whatever conversations and time that I'm spending, it's almost like a green light. Because the more time that you spend with me, the more I'm associating that with a possible relationship or us getting together.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I just wanted to publicly say there's a comment that said it's just what it is. That's who we are. It's nothing we can do. No, what he said was what we can do is give it time and be watchful. and remember these things. If you have to go back and watch the show all the way over, remember how the steps happen so that you can be vigilant on what they're doing. Because as we know, the enemy doesn't do anything new under the sun. Every trick is the same under the book. So thank you both. We're going to move on just a little bit. This is great information. I appreciate you both. So we have a little bit of I'm sorry, go ahead, sis.
I wanted you to ask Sean one question before we moved on. And it was, hold on. I apologize. It was Sean, today, how are you with letting people in your personal space as far as talking to them or sharing your concerns? What is the impact on you like right now? Even though you've gone through therapy, even though you've forgiven, you've moved forward with your life, you're married now, it's still an impact. Where are you in that space?
I am very guarded. You don't get in my inner circle. It takes a while. And every time I have let my guard down, I've regretted it. So I stay very guarded, but I'm also a very loving person. So once you make it into my circle, I'm going to love you full-heartedly, give you everything I got, but it's going to take a while for you to get into that circle. But also counseling is still ongoing. It's not a process that I'm stopping or will stop. It's ongoing. And you have to be clear that me telling my story is recent. Like I literally held on to this for 20 years. So we're talking about a 2-year period where I have been explaining what's happened to me and trying to help others understand that they're not alone.
Thank you so very much for answering that. Yes, Melvin.
I just wanted, what Ms. Davis just said is actually the most important thing that I would like everybody to take away from this. When she said counseling is ongoing, you know why? Because the brain will replay the traumatic incident throughout certain periods of her life, and that plays a part of her protective nature. And so the counseling has to be ongoing so it can address all the different facets of how this hurt her, so that she doesn't hurt anyone else, and especially the ones that she loved. Okay, and then Ms. Davis, you don't mind me saying that 20-year period, understand what she said. That 20-year gap from the time it happened until the time she told somebody, do you know how many walls and doors were built? She built a whole fortress in 20 years that was impenetrable. And so after 20 years, she started taking that, and those walls start coming down brick by brick. That's why it's so important for therapy to be ongoing.
Right. Thank you so very much, Melvin. That was a perfect, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was a perfect segue into this intermission. And sis, I would like for you to transition over while your eyes a little cloudy. I love it.
It is. I'm so proud of you, Sean. It hits close to home for me. I'm so thankful. And I know there are a lot of people who they may not comment because it's very difficult to say this happened to me. But just know that you are touching way more people than you know. So as everyone knows, this is part 2 of our healing episode. And we had some really wonderful audience members who decided to send us their thoughts on how the first episode really helped them. And I know that you guys are going to be able to send us thoughts on this one as well, or at least tell us privately, because this is a very tender subject. So especially for you, Melvin, since you were our guest the first time, we'd like you to be embraced by some of these comments. You guys take a listen, and here's a big virtual hug, Sean. Okay.
What truly resonated with me on the healing seminar is that healing does take time, and we have to be patient with ourselves and allow ourselves the necessary time to heal. We have to love on ourselves, and we have to acknowledge that pain that we're feeling. It could show up in weight loss. It could show up in alcohol or any other substance abuse. It could show up in having abusive behaviors or relationships. So allowing yourself to heal, not rushing yourself, and showing yourself some grace and some love and tenderness as you heal from trauma.
My name is Daniel Millisot, and after watching the healing episode on the Real and Raw Talk show, it made me want to reevaluate myself in regards to my body. My mind and my body at times is working in an overload state, and I fight the rest that it needs. I also found it interesting that many people learn how to live with mental health diagnosis, and they've dealt with these issues for so long that they don't think that they need help, but others can see the hurt and the trauma inside. This is all part of healing and understanding and identifying the problem and how it can be fixed.
Hi, this is Pamela. I am an honest member at Real and Raw Talk with Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta. And what I got from the healing episode is that it is very important to be conscious of your health and wellness in terms of healing or lack of healing. Accountability is on us.
Hi, I'm Taysha Williams, and I saw a poem called Continual Healing on the show called The Real and the Raw Talk Show. It was their healing episode. I was totally blown away by the poem because there were so many words that triggered feelings within myself, because I remember being in that place. I remember feeling inadequate or feeling like I didn't really have an identity, that I wanted to just be everything that people wanted me to be, people pleasing, all of the places that I've been before I actually took the time to do some self-work to heal. So I love the fact that he, as in Cameron, he targeted and talked about each level of life and how to heal and the different examples of what healing looks like. I loved it. It was inspiring. It was empowering. It was emotional. It was impactful. It was just a lot in 3 minutes.
What I learned on the healing episode of Real and Raw with Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta is that healing is a continuous process. I work in a behavioral health care facility, and as a provider, a wife, and a full-time parent, I also have to make sure that I am healed. In the past 3 weeks, I've lost 3 people that I care for deeply. So healing means that I have to process what I've lost in order to provide for those whose care has been entrusted to me as well. Thank you.
My name is Perry Walker, and after watching the healing episode on the Real and Raw Talk Show with Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta, it opened my eyes up to the importance of the healing process. And if you haven't seen that episode, you need to go to YouTube or on Facebook to their channel and watch it today.
Hi, my name is Judy, and after watching the healing episode on the Real and Raw show, I took away 2 important things from my healing. 1, it's okay for me to say I'm not available at this time. And 2, it's okay for me to reward myself.
Hi, after watching the Beautiful Colors of Healing episode of Real and Raw, I decided to know that I'm healing instead of thinking that I'm healing. And listening to Mr. Hayden, Miss Juanita, they really showed me a brighter light that I'm gonna make it through the dark. And I really appreciate that and love it. And that's why, as a 20-year-old, I continue to watch The Real and Raw with Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta.
Hi, my name is Natal, and I would just love to say that I really enjoyed Cameron's poem that was called Continual Healing. The name itself, speaks 1,000 words, because obviously, healing is ongoing. It's something that you need to be doing all the time. And a lot of people don't realize how important it is. A lot of people think that, we don't need to deal with those issues that we may be going through. And some people don't even know them or acknowledge them. And it's so important to do so, because it's going to make you a better mother, father, brother, sister, you know, in relationships. It's just going to benefit you just in life. So I felt like the poem came at a really important time for me, because all the words that he was saying, it resonated with me so much, because it was everything I'm thinking, everything I'm feeling, and it was just that confirmation, you know, hearing it in the poem form. So, you know, the poem is going to touch many lives, and I'm so proud of him. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kevin Cherry. After watching the healing episode on the Real and Raw Talk Show with Nakia Franklin and Vawn and Gretta, I gained some great tools and insights to help me move forward. The first is hope. Dr. Hayden spoke of hope, and hope made me think about faith, because it gets hard for me sometimes, and I need that hope and that faith, because it helped me see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I need that strength to help me move forward, because it really, really gets hard for me sometimes. The second tool I gained was Dr. Juanita. She spoke about, think about your day and those things that gave you life during that day, and to carry them on to the next day and think about, you know, what gave you life for that day as well. And that helped me for the next day. And I've been doing that and practicing those two things since the show. And also I've learned that being vulnerable does not make me less of a man or make me weak. So I want to challenge and encourage my brothers to please, brothers, speak up. Speak up, speak out, and step forward, because we are needed. Trust me, brothers, we are needed. And I want to thank the Real and Raw Show for sharing their gifts with us, because it's needed, I need it, and you have helped me. And to God be the glory. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Autumn Nickens, and after watching the poem Continual Healing that premiered on the healing episode of the Real and Raw Talk Show, I was mesmerized. It reflects not only suffering that we endure in this life, but it also reflects healing. And personally myself, I never really looked at healing in the form of suffering, of trauma, pain. You know, I saw it as reflective. I saw it as growth, you know, overcoming. But after listening to this poem by Cameron Asadi, who is a very dear friend of mine from college, I see the healing. I see the passion. I see the drive in his voice and his experience. And I think it's a lesson that we can all take in this life and look at healing, and not just the form of suffering, but what it really is. Transformative power. It's God consciousness. It's ascending. And this video brought forth so much love, light, energy, good spirit, and I felt it. I felt it in my being, and I'm just so thankful and grateful to see an episode broadcasted that was just what it was. It was raw. It was real. It's healing. It's God. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. It's helped me along my journey and my ascending, and I pray and hope that it helps others as well. God bless.
Wow.
That was good.
Wow.
See how you guys are blessed. You guys are blessing folks. Melvin, Sean, Juanita.
So I want to thank all those individuals who elected to give a moment of their time to submit a video to share with us the impact that episode had. And it's so relevant to the work that we're doing and to the show that we're having this evening. Sean, thank you so very much for your vulnerability and being authentic and transparent. And that's why we're here, to make a difference in the world, in the lives of people, and to share and to deliver information and to edify people so people can seek help and know that they are truly worth being here, being loved on, spoken to, made a difference for, and how every person who comes on any of our episodes are making an impact on individuals in the world. And we may never meet them face to face. We may never meet you face to face. We may never talk to you. But as everyone shares these episodes and everyone makes a difference in the listening of who they are on this earth and how they can make a difference in the lives of other people, that's why we do this work. We're not getting paid for this. Wish we were. But this is so serious. And everyone deserves to have a voice. And each and every one of your voices are being heard and spoken on this platform. So thank you so very much. We're going to quickly get ready to wrap this up. And then we're going to move on and talk about being healed, renewed, and transformed today. So, Sean, can you share with us what resources did you choose to help you rediscover your self-worth?
I think it was just, I don't feel like I ever literally lost my self-worth. What it did change me, but it changed me into a colder person. So I had to get back to being the loving person. And so basically it was just, I had to finally say enough is enough. I got tired of being toxic. I got tired of feeling the negativity of the baggage. And I found someone that I loved. And so the last thing I wanted to do was dump that toxic energy from men onto his plate. I wanted to be able to love him authentically. I wanted to love him purely and from the bottom of my heart. So I knew I had to fix what I also had been hiding that was broken.
Thank you so much. Melvin, today, do you know yourself to be healed throughout everything that you've experienced and your ability to help others as well?
The quote I like to use is, the good counselor knows how to counsel themselves. And so that's the approach that I take every single day with every single client, with, no matter who I speak with, who I talk to. The biggest thing that we can all have is a good support system. When you have the courage and you have the safe space to open up like Ms. Davis did and talk, then you'll see what type of family, the people that will rally around you to give you the support that you need to get through it. What I do want to point out before we leave, Ms. Davis, I do want to acknowledge your husband. Okay, before I get off this show, I cannot go without the show without acknowledging the brother. I know he ain't on here tonight. He might be behind the scenes, but let him know. Right there, good. Tell the brother, Mr. Hey, man, I appreciate you. I love him to death because he took on, he took on everything that you brought to him. Okay, and only with the power of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, with the love, that is bestowed on us. He was created, specially tailor-made for you for such a time as this. Okay? And I think that for each and every last one of us, we need to understand and know that our Savior does have a specially tailor-made individual for us to walk us through not just the dark times, but the good times as well. And that's what makes all this life, this thing that we call life, that's what makes it worth it.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
I just want to say, I'm going to just go ahead and tell you guys my final quick thoughts, because I know that's what my sister's trying to say. I'm going to let her go ahead and pull it together. Oh, boy. If it's not for us first, who is it for? Okay, so really quickly, I just want to leave you guys with this. I know you guys have heard me say this before, but I will keep repeating it because we learn by repetition. It's okay to say, this happened to me. All right? It's okay to say this happens to me. When you do that, that's when the healing begins. It's all in the acknowledgement. You're watching the faces of 4 people who have experienced extreme trauma, and we've overcome, and we are in the continual process, right? Our choice has been made to live our best life, with love, peace, joy, self-love, and we maintain a very tight circle containing a village of people, trusted people who surround us with encouragement and support. So what I'm trying to say is please know that you too can achieve. Please receive that. Finally, I could say so much, but instead I will plug this book. Dear Sis, the Abuse is Over. Everything I want to say is right in here. You can go get your copy today. Over to you, sis.
So, Sean, can you give us one statement, one sentence? Can you summarize it in one sentence? What you would like people to get from what you shared this evening?
I think Vawn pretty much said all of it, but basically is that you have to acknowledge that it happened. And that was where I went wrong. So acknowledging that it happened released so much from me, and it was able to start the healing process. And I didn't know how heavy it was until I acknowledged that it happened. And so that's why I'm sharing my story. It's not easy. It's not something I'm comfortable with just yet, but I just want other women to be able to know you can acknowledge it and have a safe space to still be protected, to tell your truth.
Amen. Thank you so much. So I want to leave you with this, to know your boundaries, know when to seek help, and do not be willing to compromise, and do not take no for an answer. Begin having dialogue with someone who is qualified and certified to address your mental health needs and concerns and all of your trauma. Remember, we cannot bring everything to everyone because it is not everyone who desires to see you succeed, win, or heal. I request that you trust God in all things. Listen to your hearts or your higher being or whoever you choose to know yourself to be below, okay? Listen to your hearts beyond your emotions and know that you, your life, your presence and existence does matter. And we need you here. So do not be afraid to demand that you are taken care of. And call again, 1-800-273-8255 for you and anyone else that may need help. We thank you and we honor you. Well, that's it, sis, for the Real and Raw Talk Show. Thank you for tuning in with me, Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta. Sis?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Okay.
Thank you, Sean, for being here.
We want to thank all you guys for being here. Sean, you've been hailed, and we thank you, my queen. Thank you so much for being on the show, for representing Louisiana and Southern University.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Thank you, Dr. Hayden, who is coming to us from Savannah, Georgia. Everybody, please reach out to our guests for more information about speaking engagements, talks, books, publications, and seek ways you can contribute to them as they've contributed to you. We ask that you do this for all of our current, past, and future guests. And remember, you can join us here every first and third Monday. So mark your calendars and please set your alarm for our next episode on Monday, April 4th, 2021 at our standard time, 8:55 p.m. Okay, like, love, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook page for more details and announcements of what's coming next on our show. And to obtain the details of the Notes and Rhythms Poetic Showcase, please email us at info.realrawtalkshow.com. Nope. info.realrawtalkshow@gmail.com. There are prizes to win, great prizes, you guys, and that will be a special 2-hour event, and we have only 15 spots that are being filled quickly. If you would like to be on the show and or have an idea for the Real and Raw show, please reach out to us at the very same address. I'll scroll it at the bottom. So thank you guys again, you audience members, rock, man, for joining us, and to our guests for being so authentic and vulnerable, making us cry and being transparent in the no judgment zone where there are no boundaries, right, sis?
Absolutely, indeed, Vawn, indeed. So again, I am Nakia Franklin, the whiny baby, and
And I'm Vawn Gretta, the other whiny baby.
And Melvin is.
I thought I was a guest tonight. Okay. Anyway, I'm the therapist. I'm the resident therapist because it's all psychology.
And we're here on.
We are your hosts of The Real
and Raw Talk Show, you guys. That's a great way to tell you guys. Hold on, sis. I'm sorry. You guys, make sure you come over at 10:15. The link is already on our page, so just refresh YouTube, refresh Facebook, and join us for the after show party, sis.
Where there are no boundaries, and if anyone wants to send in any future videos from this episode or otherwise, please send it to us. Because we have no problem with featuring you guys. And thank you again. Where there are no boundaries.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of The Real and Raw Talk Show with Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta. Remember to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And subscribe to our YouTube channel today. A special thanks to our guests, sponsors, and audience members. We are grateful for your support of our programming. If you would like to be a guest or sponsor of one of our shows, please email us at info.realrawtalkshow@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. This has been a Wisdom Entertainment production in association with Social Integration, both in alliance with the Blue Rooster. The views and opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of The Real and Raw Talk Show with Nakia Franklin and Vawn Gretta. Any content provided are opinions and do not intend to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything. Stay connected and join us for our next conversation where there are no boundaries and no judgments.